Yeah, we'll talk later. Okay, so back to your house. Can you tell us how many bathrooms it had?
Bathrooms? Oh, one. Only one.
Was there a basement?
Yes. Yes, there was a basement, and it seems like in the early years we often had dinner down there. But that would have been, you know, when there were at least 3 or 4 kids, you know, because there was more room for a table and stuff. But so we didn't do that much. But I remember ironing down there, and I remember Mom wanted us to iron, which we did whatever she asked us to do. But I hated the ironing because we had to iron the boys' pants, and they were this heavy cotton, you know, and they had to be sprinkled, you know, because they were so dry. And she also had to hang up her laundry, you know, during the summer outside on the clotheslines. Yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna switch to your dad and his wine making. So, can you tell us how often you recall him making wine?
Well, he only made it once a year.
Can you say what we're talking about again? So he made what once a year?
He made wine once a year in the basement, and he had all the equipment. In fact, we inherited some of that equipment, and I remember Jimmy laid claim to it, you know, after after it wasn't being used anymore. But when he made the wine, and this is just a very bare memory of it, but it would bubble up, you know, and Dad would ask us to go down, and we had like a ladle of some kind, and, you know, push the grapes down. And that was, and I also remember that when he would go down to I think the Eastern Market and buy the grapes, and somebody would deliver them, and they would open a window into the basement, you know, from outside, and they would dump the grapes that way into the house.
Would they just dump the grapes in? Not
Yeah.
in boxes or anything?
Well, they were in the boxes, yeah. And then I don't remember too much more about the winemaking because we weren't very interested. And, you know, I'm getting it mixed up because Jack made wine one year.
Really?
Your dad, yeah.
I never heard this.
He was very excited about doing it, mostly because he loved wine. But, you know, even then I had just a few memories of him making wine, you know, on Highvalley in Inkster when we lived there. And he would tell me, I forget exactly, but you were supposed to, at some point you were supposed to push the grapes down, you know, so there was a circulation of the grapes. But sometimes it would spill over. So that just panicked me when it spilled over, you know.
Why?
Because I didn't know what to do with it. You know?
Was that when you were a kid or when Dad was
No,
doing it?
when your dad was making it. Because our dad, my dad, he never asked us to work on the grapes because he probably knew that was a foolish thing to do.
Did he have any of his friends help with that? Or was that just his
No.
own project?
Mm-mm. You know, a lot of the Italian men did the same thing. So, but I do remember that he had a couple of men that he worked with come to the house, and he either sold them, you know, a gallon of wine or gave it to them. I don't know which. But, yeah, but he did it himself. In fact, my uncle didn't do it either. I'm not sure. I don't think he made his own wine. See.
Okay. Okay, so So again, when you answer this, kind of repeat the question in your answer, okay? Did your parents only have Italian friends? Did they socialize with other American or other immigrants in Detroit? So we were talking a little bit about this the other night, about the makeup of your neighborhood.
No, my parents' friends were basically Italian. And there were, some Italians on our block, but they weren't particularly close to them. But there weren't a lot of friends, but some of the friends that they had were within walking distance. And Dad did not have a car, so they had to walk everywhere. Or for something special like a wedding or something, they had to get a ride from somebody that had a car. Like Lawrence had a car.
Tsitsi
think.
ever had a car?
Hmm?
Did Tsitsi ever have a car?
Yes, Tsitsi had a car, but I don't remember being in it much, And of course, he would have been the only driver, because Sia certainly didn't drive. But I remember one time Tsitsi took me down to one of the other car companies. It wasn't Ford. Was there a Briggs? Briggs?
I think
Was
so.
that a car company?
I think so.
And he just took me along for the ride, because, I thought he could get me a job there. So I was probably in high school, Yeah.
How often did Tsitsi and Sia come over?
Pretty frequently. It seemed like they came over a lot, like on Sunday morning, like after church. And, we would have cake and coffee. Yeah. And people didn't do dinners like you do now, that was just for very special occasions. So they would just come and we'd sit in the kitchen, have coffee, and if we had any cake, that would be fine. But if we didn't, Mom would send me and Lucy up to the store to buy a packaged cake, Yeah, so.
Would you buy a cake that was already made or a mix?
Oh, yeah.
A cake that was made.
I don't remember them using mixes that much then. But as I said, I was working when I was in high school, so that's pretty much, my cooking lessons were all over with by then. So, yeah.
How about Joe and Carl? Did you see them much?
We saw Joe, fairly often.
Can you say that they were your cousins? Because when you're on the...
Well, they were our cousins. They were Tsitsi and Sia's sons. And Carl went into the service, in the Second World War. So we never saw much of him.
Was he a lot older than you?
I can't remember. Maybe 3 or 4 years. And then when he got out of the service, he got married right away to this pretty girl named Rosie. And I remember that we went to their wedding, but I don't remember any details about it. And we didn't see them much after that, Yeah. So,
But did you see Joe more growing up?
Yeah, we saw Joe, but not a lot, Like before high school, he would come with his parents, but then as soon as they got in high school, that was too boring to go to your aunt and uncles. And we were girls and they were boys. We really had nothing in common with them. Although I do have a few pictures of when they were little, sitting on the front porch. So that was nice. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so how about your clothing when you were growing up? Did your mom sew most of your clothes? Did you guys ever go shopping?
Well, my mom was a very good sewer, but I don't remember her sewing a lot of our clothes. But we never had a lot of anything, you know. And I do remember when we were in school, like grade school, this sort of sticks in my mind. We had 3 dresses, and we would hang them up in the closet, and we'd wear number 1 on Monday, number 2 on Tuesday, and just repeat that. But that was it, just 3 dresses. So we didn't have much in clothing. But I do remember one early Christmas when they were really, or they always were very close friends with Kamada Clotilde. And for Christmas, one Christmas, she bought us, Lucy and I, little velveteen black jumpers and little white blouses to go under with, I think they had like embroidered collars. And we were just thrilled to pieces, you know, because we didn't very often get brand new clothes. But that was really a really big deal for us.